Welcome to another test run of microgreens on my channel, Corey's Cave, where I do a lot of different things with microgreens. Sometimes I do other things, but mostly microgreens. Today we're going to be growing 6 different kinds of mustard and testing those out to see what we think of them. Mustard comes in all different kinds of varieties. I picked 6, but there's a whole lot more that you can pick from other than just the 6. They come in like bright greens, light green, dark green. They get a little bit of purple in them. All different kinds. Flavors can be very mild to very spicy. In this video, we're going to be growing those, so let's get started. For a grow medium, we are going to go with this Mother Earth cocoa bale, 100% natural coconut core fibers. I picked this up from a local hydroponics store, and it only cost me like 10 bucks. Unfortunately on Amazon, this is much more expensive at like 25 or something like that. And there's a cheaper option up there that is Hydro Crunch. That looks like it's a perfectly fine cocoa. I'll put a link to both of them in the description, but for you guys to check out. But let's get this unwrapped, add some water. And the rustier your wheelbarrow, the better this will work. Let's see what we've got for seed. I got 6 different kinds of mustard here. Let's see what those are. This all came from True Leaf Market, and apparently they have some new packages that I have not yet seen. This is a Mizuna mustard. Red Garnet mustard. This one I have grown before. Red Giant mustard. I have not grown that. Tokyo Bacana. I have not grown that. Osaka Purple, and I have not grown that. And Southern Giant Curled. I haven't grown that one either. I will say the new labeling on their packages is pretty nice. It's a lot more interesting than the old packaging. I like how they put right on there that it's non-GMO. Pretty sweet. So we will plant all these and see what we get from them. I've got some trays here. I've got trays with holes inside of trays without holes, so I can water from the bottom. Every time I water, I'll pick up a tray and add water to the bottom. That is done because the microgreens are very tender, and if you try to water them from the top, you'll just knock them over and make a mess. So let's get some cocoa core in these. I'll be using my trusty Frosted Flakes bowl, and I'll be using 3 of these of cocoa core per tray. Now we'll just spread these out. Now the cocoa core is all nice and spread out evenly. I will take and add just a little bit of water. The cocoa core is already quite damp, so I don't have to add a ton of water, but I'm going to water them in just a little bit. I do that before I put the seed on so that the water as I'm putting it on doesn't cause the seeds to all kind of puddle up and group up into one little spot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'll add some water. Now putting on the seed, we are going to use just a tablespoon. That's the measuring device I like to use for microgreens, for small seeds. A lot of people are really picky and they want to weigh them all down really well, or weigh them really well. I'm not really that critical about it. And we are going to do 1.5 tablespoons per tray. Just spread those all nice and evenly. This is the Tokyo Bacana. Here's the second half a tablespoon. in the middle, we have the Osaka Purple. And I have each of these trays labeled at the back. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but they're all labeled, so we'll be able to keep track of which one is which as we grow. For this third tray, we are going to use the Southern Giant curled. Now I'm just going to give them a light mist with what used to be Wind and Water. Since then, the Wind and Water has kind of headed south towards Tampa Bay, but we'll see. It might win again. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the next three, which will be the Red Giant, the Red Garnet, and the Mizuna. And those trays, I'm going to do the same exact thing. They're going to go right on top of these trays to stack them. And then I'll put an empty tray over each of those with a little bit of weight on them to just kind of make sure the seeds stay in good contact with the cocoa core. They'll go on a shelf, and we'll show you that in a minute.
It's been getting kind of cold in my grow room. It's been dropping down to about 58 degrees or so at night. So these have been growing for 7 days. 6 days they were stacked, and then I unstacked them and just put a humidity dome over the top, blackout dome. And I did that to try to get better germination because some of them just didn't have really great germination because of being cold, is my guess. So let's get these domes off and see what we've got. Here is the Osaka Purple. This is the Red Garnet. Tokyo Bacana. Right now, you're not seeing a big difference between any of them. Here is the Red Giant. This is the one that had the worst germination, for some reason. Now on a different rack, different set of lights as well, is the Giant Curled. And the Mizuna. Now, the Mizuna was another one that just didn't seem to have great germination. Doesn't look like the roots really want to take into the cocoa core very well. But we will see what happens.
Alright, our mustard has been under light for 2 days now. And I've moved my area into a separate room to get a little bit more heat. It's things are kind of in a mess right now, so I'm not going to show you everything, not the whole room yet. But here is the Tokyo Bacana. You see, they're doing really well. Here is the Red Giant. Now, you might remember in my last update, I showed that a bunch of these had pretty poor germination, and that could have been due to me not having enough weight on them or not keeping them wet enough. So I just put the humidity dome on to try to give it a better shot of having more germination. And I still, you know, there's still some pockets where I just didn't have great germination with the Red Giant, but they're looking good. Over here, we've got the Giant Curled. That's also looking great. Here we've got the Osaka Purple. Those are looking good. You can see that there is a little bit of color on this one. Here's the Mizuna. This is the other one that I had like really poor germination on. ready to take this dome off now though. So the Mizuna, you can see that I still have really poor germination. It wasn't really poor germination. It was really poor rooting. Like, they just didn't root that well. But they're looking like they're gonna be good enough to get, you know, a nice taste test out of, or be able to just see, you know, how they look. And over here is our red garnet. And these are looking really nice. This is probably one of the best looking trays out of any of them so far. And the red garnet is one I have grown before, like I said. And what will happen is, as they grow, the cotyledon leaves will become darker and darker red. And then when they get a first true leaf, that will be like a bright green. And they're a beautiful looking microgreen. Now, another thing I want to just point out and keep in mind is that I grew these really sparsely. I didn't want to overseed or seed too heavy. And that's because I wanted to do a little bit of a longer grow on these. I want to get the first true leaf to show up on these so I can really gauge what they really look like. And so it's going to be a few more days. I think these have been planted. I think I planted them like probably 9 days ago now. Now that I'm in a little bit warmer environment, they should grow a little bit quicker. And one other thing that I'm not totally certain of yet is whether or not I am going to water these with a nutrient solution. I will be bottom watering. I'll be putting water in the bottom tray. But I have not decided whether or not I want to feed them nutrients or not. I normally would with cocoa coir, because it doesn't have, it's a pretty sterile substance. Like, this doesn't have a lot of nutrient value to cocoa coir. And to grow something to a few more days, or 2 more days or so, these would be just fine. But if you want to get something to like a true leaf and have them really start filling out, you're going to need a little bit of a nutritional value there. And I haven't quite decided for sure whether or not that's something I'm going to do. But like I said, they haven't even been watered yet. So from the time I stacked them was when I water. I wet down the cocoa coir, and these are still plenty heavy. Like, this doesn't need water today either. So let's check back. Welcome back. You may notice there are only 5 trays here. And you saw as I was growing that I was really struggling with one of them, the Mizuna, which is really unfortunate because that's one that is a really common one that people grow all the time. I have not yet grown that before. And I actually, all these trays, I never did add any nutrients. So it was just the cocoa coir and water, and that's it. And they really stalled out. I'll put the exact amount of time that they were grown for in here somewhere. I'll put it up. I'll have to look back at my video to see exactly when these were planted and how long it's been that they've been growing. But they really kind of stalled. Nothing's really changed in the past few days. So I figured it's time to harvest them. If I would have given them nutrients, they would have all developed first true leaves by now, and they're just not doing that. Or if I would have grown them on a nutrient-rich soil, which I didn't do as well. And if you're interested in seeing another grow with the mustards, let me know, and I will do one that's either soil or one where I add nutrients, or maybe I compare nutrients, soil, and cocoa coir alone. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think and what you want me to try. So let's chop into some of these and see what we got. Here we have the Tokyo Akana. I don't know if that's how you're really supposed to say it. That's how I've been saying it. I did have one little area of dampen off, and I ripped a bunch of those out. So let's dive in and taste these. So I got a nice little clump here to try out. These are very pale green compared to the other ones. Now that one kind of surprises me a little bit because it tastes a lot more like a pak choi to me than it does a mustard. So if you like a really mild mustard, definitely go ahead with the Tokyo Bacana. It grows really good too. It's a nice high density. It was probably the fastest growing of all these, and it did yield the most. If I was to weigh them all, you can just tell by looking at them. So I do enjoy that one. It does not have, like I said, a mustardy kick that I enjoy. But if you want a mild mix, definitely throw that in there. Now on to the Red Giant. This one I had poor germination on. That may have been me. I really don't think it was a problem with the seeds, but maybe it was. We'll see if I do another one. But I don't think I had enough weight on this tray. This was one of the ones stacked on top of another tray, and then I had some seeds in there just to keep some weight on it, and I don't think that was enough to keep the seeds in contact with the grow medium. But we'll see. Let's get a nice little clump of these to try. Now the Red Giant does have a tiny bit of a deep red or purple on the very edges of the cardamom leaves. I would have been curious to see what this looked like if I got the first true leaf out. I think it would have been really pretty. And that's another reason why I'm going to probably do this experiment all over again. Now that one is a lot closer to what I would expect from a mustard. Unlike the Tokyo, this has a little bit of spice to it, but it's not overbearing. It's actually a really kind of a pleasant spice in it. It's not like a wasabi, doesn't really stand out, but I do like this one, and I definitely want to see if I can get better grow results on my next go around. I like this one from my flavor profile better than the Tokyo Bacana. The Red Giant, I think, is a little bit better flavor. Let's keep going. Now this is the Giant Curled. This one grew fantastic. This is a really thick, dense bed of microgreens right here. It's definitely one of my better looking trays out of all of them. I think that my best was the Red Garnet, but let's get some of these and see what we think. Now the Giant Curled, it doesn't have any special characteristics to the look of it. It's just green. It's not a pale green. It's not like a dark green. It's green. I didn't get any of the first true leaves on this, so I'm not sure what that would have looked like. But let's see what it tastes like. So in my opinion so far, the Giant Curled is the spiciest of the three mustards I've tried. Really nice kick to it. Almost like a wasabi or a spicy oriental. Not too spicy, but it's noticeable. You can tell it's a mustard, and I really like it. That's my favorite of the three so far for flavor. And also for look, I think out of these three, so far I would pick the Red Giant as the best looking one because it has that little bit of red on it. But it's hard to tell in this tray because it's just not a very good grow. Now on to the Red Garnet. This one I've grown many times, and it's something I really enjoy. Like I said, if you grow this to its first true leaf, the first true leaves are a bright green. And the cardamom leaves stay nice and dark purple, kinda. So let's see what we think of these for flavor. So just in my opinion, the prettiest of all the mustard microgreens. Now, not a whole lot of spice on the Red Garnet either. I would put that pretty close to on par with the Red Giant. Very similar in flavor, but if I had to pick one, it would be the Red Garnet, just because I really like the way they look. Now for the Osaka Purple. These grew fantastic as well. I was really happy with them. They do have a little bit of a purple tinge to them, but not a lot. I think these would have had a really pretty true leaf if I got them that far, but I didn't. Let's see how these did for flavor. I've never tried these before. Like I said, nothing too fancy on the color. They do have a little bit of purple in them, but it's kind of hard to see, especially after you cut them. When it's all in one tray, you can see it a little bit more. I think the first True Leaf would have been pretty. Next time I'll have to see. For me, I would have to say the Osaka Purple was the spiciest of them all. Flavor profile, that's my favorite one. As soon as I put it in my mouth, there was like a different, almost a woodsy flavor to it, and then it started like really changing into the mustard that I really expect. Very similar to the Spicy Oriental, which is almost exactly the same as a wasabi. So out of these 5 that I had success growing, unfortunately I didn't try the Mizuna, didn't work out. I'm gonna say the Osaka Purple is my favorite for flavor. If somebody wants a spicy one, that would be the spiciest, I think, out of these 5. For looks, I'd go with the red Garnet. That's, my opinion, the best looking one. If we had the first True Leaves, it'd be a different score, I think, maybe. We'll have to see. And if you wanted something for just a nice salad blend, nice mix, I think the Tokyo Bacan is the way to go for that. That, like I said, is the best yielding of them all. It grew the biggest codlin leaves out of all of them. Very mild, very close to a pak choi. There will be links to all these seeds that I got from True Leaf Market in the description, and also the cocoa core, and maybe also some lights and other various things that I put in there. I do use affiliate links, and if you use those, I earn a commission on the purchases you make, but it costs you nothing. So you're just supporting the efforts that I put into making these videos for you guys. It helps me make some money on the side, and I hope that you guys enjoy my videos. And if you do, definitely subscribe and give a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Let me know what you think, and if you want me to do another mustard one, that it's a better grow with soil or nutrients. Thanks for watching.